Ooh, I'm alive. I greet you with honor and the blessings of the infinite creator, and that may all of you, your friends, family, relatives, and all of your relations receive the goodness from the source and from creator. And so I'm your humble host, obviously, Mr. David Null, and also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, which is my shaman name. And so I always thank you all, and I mean it sincerely, regardless of the comments someone may leave. It's your free will and it's your free choice. And I love you all for your own consciousness and for your own path and your own way of thought. Now, this is, I never do short videos. I'm very, I'm like that. But this just came across me, like here, do a little blurb right here. There's so much more. I thought we were to the title of this particular program. Um, I thought we were kind of over some of this doom and gloom stuff. Oh my goodness, it's like it's ramped up. And what does what doom and gloom, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again, say it again. There's an old song. Breaking Dawn, hello, hello. And Melanie, hi, how are you? Hello, kind lady. You said, sir, ma'am, there you go. I'll get it right here. I, I didn't have a plan for this other than to say that there is some doom and gloom on this planet. There are some really big earthquakes and stuff going on right now, but that's for awareness purposes. That's not to scare the crap out of anybody. That's for somebody to be able to say, hey, look, I live near there. I'm going to go on vacation, you know, to Belize when there's a big earthquake that was just off the coast the other day. It's like, well, it's just good to have information. And there are folks, and I hate to use the term fear porn, but the more I look upon some of these channels that have been doing some of these things, they're at it again. Oh, everything's more doom. Oh, we got another flipping blood moon coming up. Oh, we've got this. Oh, and the uh, the prophecy wasn't right, they were off, and this and that, and they're making excuses for why Nibiru can't still be seen, or why it should have went by now. And uh, come on, folks. Now, I've stated, I do believe that there is a that our star has a twin dwarf, or whatever, however you want to term it. I do believe that there are other things in our solar system and around us in this part of the galaxy that's different. But when you hear me talk about it, I tell you in terms of, hey, let's all pay attention. If you live near the water, always be careful. It was funny because when I talked to my daughter about a week ago, she was like, "Pops, I just wanted to let you know I'm up here in Ohio, and I'm not anywhere near any water off the Gulf Coast." And which is but at least she listens and she understands. And it's not like you should be walking around on pins and needles all the time. You should just be aware of your surroundings. Now, as someone, as a woods person, as I am, and down in the swamp and everything, you take the basic things that you need, but what you take with you is your wits. You take with you your own aura, your own protection. The best way to not get snake bit is to look out for the snakes. The best way not to fall in a hole is watch where you step. I mean, there's so many things. I've watched Bear Grylls and some of these other folks, these outdoor people jumping from rock to rock. That is some of the most insane things I've ever seen. I just wanted to get that off my chest right there. But I've done primitive camping. I've been in the middle of nowhere. I was having conversation with a friend of mine last night, talking about how a bear I was laying on my back and the bear stuck his nose on the tent and pushed in. I was that far away from a bear, from his mouth, or her mouth, I should say. But to the point, though, the whole part of this is to understand your surroundings wherever you are. If you go to the store, just take a look around. What's going on around me? And you just pay attention to your surroundings. I mean, back in the day of the pioneers, Davy Crockett, it got brought up in something, and I was like, yeah, I was up in Virginia, and I saw an old house that was literally over 150 years old. We tried to purchase it, but it was out of my means. But anyway, it was a place where Davy Crockett and some of the other trappers and so forth traveled back and forth over from Boone, North Carolina, over to the other side on the western side of the Appalachians. And and the stories are is they could make it. They would leave early in the morning and make it over the mountain, do their trading, and be back by night. That same night. Now I've drove that thing. I've driven that mountain, and I can't even imagine trying to hike that puppy up and down the other side and then back in one day. Are you kidding me? But these people knew where their surroundings were. They were tough old folk, man. Them pioneers had their stuff. A 10-mile walk wasn't nothing to them. A half-mile walk right now for me is like, wait, where's my crutches? Not quite, but you get my meaning. But anyway, so the big idea about this is, as a Boy Scout, and I still have my original Boy Scout book from back in the early 60s. And I realized in doing so that everything in it is about preparation. Be prepared. Boy Scout motto, be prepared. Okay. But we as human beings, we just, we just take things for granted. And it's not that you have to have a bomb shelter or anything like that, but you have to be aware of your surroundings. You have to be aware that at any time you should have a couple of days worth of food, period, just because stuff happens. You should have a little extra waters, things like that. But folks are talking all this cosmic stuff. There's more asteroids. There's asteroids out there all the time. I've seen them come in. I've reported them, to the not the UFO, the near Earth object place. Been watching things for the last, literally almost 60 years of my life. I was a Cub Scout, Boy Scout. So at the age of 8, I was outside studying stars. And, I'm 66, so you do the math. But to the point, though, the best thing in this, with all this chaos, and it seems like they're trying to ramp it up. And I've done videos here these last few days, and I'm asking you all to make the choice about this. Stay out of the chaos. It's doom and gloom again. And I want to names want to come out of my mouth, but I'm not going there. I very rarely ever name names. But to the point, though, some of these folks are like, Nibiru's at it again. Well, here comes the Israeli, here comes this one, and oh my God, China's going to blow us out of the water. Now, to the point about China. China's on the other side of the world. We ain't got no business there, technically. So if we're over there pissing off the Chinese, if they came over here and was in the Gulf of Mexico, you don't think we'd be pissed off? I mean, come on. So we got to take things in, do I think it's right and all this other politics and stuff? No, but there's a lot more going on that we just don't see. And they're playing cat and mouse. There are generals playing against generals that have nothing to do with anybody else. There are admirals on the ocean that they just want to tangle with each other. It's just craziness. But what it is doing is trying to keep people in the chaos thinking. And I'm going to keep preaching about this. This is my new mantra. Stay out of the chaos. Observe it, watch it, pay attention, because, you want to know what your enemy's up to, but keep your emotions out of it. They want to drag us in. It's like they're still trying, and they know they can't win. They're still trying to drag us into this matrix mud and try to make us believe that, we're so controlled by the computer and everything is deemed out. Well, I started this video without planning, and I just said, think I'll do it now. Ding. So what did AI have to do with that? Nothing. That was my own personal choice to get on here now at this 6:54 in the evening on Tuesday. Oh, and by the way, Breaking Dawn and Michelle, I think I got that right, Michelle and Melanie. But KCOR is tonight at 9:00 on Eastern time, by the way, with Drake and Dr. Sam and Kent. So just saying, I'm on here just to do a little bit of, roundup thing. But I want to keep commending people to stay in your zone. You know, if you're a tarot reader, if you're a this or that, stay in your zone. Keep your focus with your spirit guide. And if you want questions from the universe, ask your spirit guide. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle, answer me another question. Weren't you and I? What weren't I supposed? Were you the person who sent me an email and we were supposed to have a chat? Please, yes or no. And I found the email buried in some stuff, and I went, oh man! But is that you? Okay, no. All right, thank you. It's another M. Maybe anyway. Thank you very much. But with the chaos thing, I did a video, I don't know, several months ago about the harmony, and there's a harmony in the chaos. Within the chaos and within the noise, there are different frequency. It might not be Michelle. Michelle, I just saw your name and went, that looks familiar. It might have, but anyway, to the point. Thank you very much. I just, because I wanted to apologize if you were the person, for my, my brain being the way it is. But so anyway, apologies to the person, anyway. But with the chaos, though, there's harmony in the chaos, and I want to. There are harmonics. Maybe I should clarify that. So as I was chatting about different things, that I've got some bells up here, and when you ring a bell, it'll go ding-a-ling-a-ling, and then but if you let the bell sit for a little while, you'll hear a lower tone than the bell actually presents. So it goes dong, and then after a few minutes or seconds or whatever, depending on the size of the bell, it will give a lower frequency, a sympathetic vibration, if you will, that's, I don't know, 1 or 2 octaves, not octaves. Anyway, it's a lower tone that comes in. Amazing Grace, hello there. Thank you very much, Amazing Grace. Thank you. Thank you. I'm always seeking angel messages and messages from source that are good for everyone. I'm not trying. I know there are times that I say some things that kind of have a tendency to tick people off because of their long-term beliefs. As a Catholic growing up, when I found out that, the Catholics have been lied to me, I was heartbroken. So, and thank you, and God bless you too. So with that said, though, there are so many other things that that we need to look at. So with all the noise, if you listen for the harmonics, there will be a frequency in there, and you have to pay attention to it. So where it sounds like noise, and there is some jazz to me that just sounds like noise. I'm sorry, but it just does. And some, hip hop music is just like noise to me. There's nothing in it for me. But other people find, solace in it. I mean, there are people who listen to some of this hip hop music and they're studying, they're reading for, cramming for exams. I don't get it, but okie doke. But with that said, though, the chaos is what it seems to be ramping up. And the bad part about this is that I see other folks who aren't necessarily really into that. It seems like they're picking up on the chaos again. And so where somebody starts the chaos, other people start picking it up like, well, and I don't want to say it's clickbait, but in a way it kind of is. And so if folks are like, well, I've never heard of this channel before. Oh, they're talking about Nibiru. Ooh. And for a lot of us are like, oh, okay, Nibiru. Okay. Planet X. Come on. Go ahead. Hit me. All right. Now I want to bring this up. And I mean this with the utmost of respect for everyone. I seriously mean this. But what if, the Christ consciousness, Jesus, other prophets, what if this new age stuff, what if these energies that we all understand are coming into our planet, into the universe? What if it's preparing us for death? And I'm not trying to be morbid. I'm just saying. But when Jesus was on earth, and I'm using him as the example, if Jesus was on earth, what would he be teaching? What would he be saying? What would he be reacting to? And when he would say, y'all be aware of this stuff around here, but just don't Just don't go into a panic. And so my question is Jesus was always talking about, the things of this earth, you can't take it. We can't take it with us. So I'm just suggesting that with the chaos, oh, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. We're all going to die. Somebody's going to, well, we are all going to die on this planet at one point, and I don't mean at the same time, but we all have to leave this flesh and go on to the next world. We all need to make that jump, that leap, whatever, that transition, which I continue to speak about. And my point about this is, so what if an asteroid does hit us? Regardless of whether or not it hits us or not is not the issue. The issue is whether or not we have our vibrations. I don't want to be caught off guard. Holy crap, here comes a meteor. But I don't have my soul ready. I mean, I've had so many accidents over the years that were not my fault. Other people running into my vehicle and put me in the hospital with brain concussions and contusions and things, crippled me, And I think to myself, but I was just minding my own business. Somebody else ran into me. Not the point. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't the true Boy Scout, if you will. I wasn't the Boy Scout of my soul. I wasn't paying attention to it. Not at all. I was paying attention to just being a kid and doing stuff, But the thing is though, when we make simple preparations for our soul and for our vibrational issues with our spirit and our connection to the higher self, regardless of what might happen, may happen, and consequently, this meat bag of mine will die one day and I'll make the transition. So regardless of what's coming up or what may come flying out of the sky to kill me or you or the other guy, or you know what I mean, what difference does it make? And it's not that I'm not wishing it to happen by no means, but shouldn't we just be prepared? I mean, you might get hit walking across the street. Somebody run a red light. Boom, that's it. Where's your soul going? Where's your higher vibration? Are you ready for the transition? Does it have to be a major catastrophe? Does Mother Earth have to blow up, for us to pay attention, that maybe we should pay attention to our own soul and our own vibration? Well, the chaos is making people crazy. Oh, we're all going to die. And some people are like, well, I got to be bathed in the blood of Jesus. And I got to, okay, fine. Whatever is going to help best serve you to find your spiritual self and to help you to get to that transition point, to go to heaven, to go to nirvana, to get to the other side, however you want to term it. But we are not staying in this 3D. That's the simple answer. Now, I have no intentions of checking out anytime soon, mind you. But to the point, though, I find it, and I've had many near-death experiences that I've chatted about before. But the thing is that, and they've taught me, live every day the best that you can. It doesn't mean to take chances, but it doesn't mean to be a scaredy pants either. If there's somebody that you like and you've been wanting to tell them that you love them, open your big mouth and say, I love you. And let the chips fall there, versus trying to hold it in and having the anxiety, which gives you stomach issues. And, we need to tell the truth. Let these things out. Now, I don't mean go up to somebody and say, I've been wanting to punch a crap out of you for the last 20 years. Nah, but you could go up and tell the person, you know what, for the last 20 years, I've wanted to punch your face. And I realize now that for the last 20 years, I've wasted a lot of energy on that. Just want you to know, have a great day and turn around and walk away. Talk about a punch in the face. The person will go, for the last 20 years, he's wanted to punch me? What? Oh, so there are ways that we can, quote, get our revenge without actually hitting somebody. We can punch them with words or feelings. And I don't mean negative words, I mean with positive vibrations. We can slap people around with positive vibrations until they come around to, I want to say, to our side, to the Christ consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, the new world, well, the new universal thought. And that is just one simple commandment, if you will, and that is to do no harm to anything, any being. any being, anything, that means rocks, trees, plants, no harm, And so with my talks on shamanism, I still can't believe I did 4.5 hours the other morning with that one. But there's going to be some shorter things about shamanism I want to bring out to folks, because in my own realization and trying to explain it to other people, I realize that there are many shaman type people out there, but because they haven't fallen into what older culture traditionals have followed, like Native Americans or whatever, that it doesn't quite fit my paradigm, because that's where I studied. That's how I studied. I actually went with someone to the wilderness and stayed with them and did walkabouts and so forth. And a lot of people can't do that now. And so, but they're doing it in a different way. So, but their core value is what a true shaman is called to do. That's important. So in this chaotic nonsense of doom and gloom, how do we fix this? How do we fix ourselves? Well, we have to remove our emotions from the chaos. That's y'all gonna hear me repeat this a lot until I start seeing a big change, I guess. But it just needs to be reminded to everyone. I remind myself all the time, don't get caught up in that, Dave. Stay out of that mess. Watch what's going on, but stay out. Don't get in that fist fight, you know. And with that said, so it's like, so I've understood, and I continue to understand it every day that goes by, as all of our vibrations and things are changing. I'm hoping that you will understand what I mean by this. Watch the crazy news, watch the stuff, but keep your emotions out of it. And if you got to do something, then make it a positive response the best way you can. You can say, well, that was very tragic, but I pray that good things will come from it. That's just a general send something back into the nonsense. Yeah, that was crappy, but I'm praying that something good will come of it. So rather than sending a negative back, I'm sorrowful, and yeah, okay, that's all really nice and good, and sending condolences to people who have lost a loved one or something from an accident or whatever, or murder, that is nice, but we can't be sitting and just mull, oh my God, they got killed, there's this and that. There are still people not that it wasn't important, but they're still talking about the Las Vegas incident, what, well over a year ago now, or longer. But to the point about that is they can't leave it alone. I haven't forgotten it. There are things I know about 9/11 and things and stuff that, very few people talk about. But there are things that I realize as someone who worked in an airplane factory, someone who built jet engine parts, someone who's been in the manufacturing business with aluminum and stamping and things. So, and as a I had my construction license. I was a licensed contractor down here in South Georgia. And so there are things that I know about because I've been on this planet for 66 years. And but when I make observations of things, it's usually because I've got some kind of background or some, sure enough, hands-on, or a first person, like a friend of mine who actually works in the business. That's like one-on-one kind of thing. Sit around, have a beer, and talk shop, But of all of the things that happen, even in plant politics and things, the best thing to do is to stay out of the chaos. State your point, give your condolences, keep it short and sweet, but keep your mind out of it, because it will suck the energy out of you and take away, I consider every one of us, our spirit is a candle burning. And when we're at our best meditation, that candle isn't flickering. It's just burning perfectly. But anytime we get sideswiped with chaos, it's like somebody blowing on the candle. The candle flickers, and the light flickers, and shadows dance on the wall. And we lose our own energy through that because we get sidetracked. So we need to keep our core focus. which that core focus I talk about comes from the ancient ones who brought shamanism to this planet when they helped create the planet. They planted some of the trees. They were the old time giants of way back. And, they've been caretakers on here until some nasty folk come in and basically took it over. And um, anyway, that's not to get into that story right now. But to the point, though, they brought chaos with them. And ever since humanity's been here, they brought, well, wait, let me back up. Small tribes and things have had minimal amounts of chaos just because people are people and everybody's born differently, and which is a good thing. But the larger the cities or the tribes or whatever, the more issues there would be because there were more people to argue. And it was harder to calm people down. So the chaos erupted out of just more people and different personalities. Now, I've been to some very large powwows, and many nations show up with different cultural, they're all Native Americans from North America, but, the Cherokee are different from the Lakota and from the Mojaves and from the, Cheyenne. And everybody's got their own heritage within their own local culture. And I've seen some dang near fist fight, knife fights. Thought I was going to have to, call General Custer in. That's a bad joke, but to settle an Indian argument about whether the circle people should come in from the north side or from the east side, because different cultures of Native Americans view things differently in how you enter the drum circle. And I mean, it's like, what? So, but at the same point, although there may be, cultural differences, the bottom line is they all understand what their dance means. They all understand what the honor and the traditions of their ceremonies is to celebrate and honor the great spirits and the ancient ones, which white people don't do. Now, I stated this last night a couple of times, and I'm going to find it in the Bible and give you chapter and verse. But it says that, God's sitting at the right, Jesus is sitting at the right hand of the Lord, and the angels are there, and the ancient ones are there. Well, wait a minute, who are the ancient ones? Well, is that the folks that everybody refuses to accept existed? They put it in Revelations at the end of the Bible. Isn't that interesting? But to the point, though, so there's messages all the way through all kinds of stuff. But they want us to go get involved in the chaos. It's all been political. There's somebody always wants to be the boss. And I submit in the new society, everyone should be boss. In other words, if there are 30 people in a group, somebody's going to be the boss. It's just going to rotate. You're boss today. You're going to be boss tomorrow. Next Friday, you're boss, and because we all should share in this. It should, we should have managers. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, I'm better at bookkeeping than you are, but you really make really good moccasins out of deer hide. Well, I'll do the books. You make the deer, you make the moccasins. And there's nothing wrong with that. But then it became to the point where in the chaos of society, that the person who was doing the books deserved more money because he understood the books. Now, could he go make a moccasin? No. But the person making the moccasin ended up with a short end of the deal. He made the moccasin, here's 2 cents, and then the guy who's doing the book work sells them for $4. And then the guy that made them was like, wait, whoa, what just happened here? And it's because people who have achieved, quote, what they think is a higher knowledge, they think they're better than everybody else. And I know I've had a comment or two where somebody was like, well, you're just being narcissistic, meaning me. And I'm like, in some ways I have to be. I have to say what I know is long-term. And I'm sorry, but Allah Akbar, come get me, but I'm not changing my faith or religion. I know what I know, and it is what it is, and okay, you want to kill me, then I just want to make sure that my soul is already ready to go, whether it's an asteroid or Allah Akbar or whatever it is. But I refuse to be afraid anymore. because being fearful draws all this nasty, it sucks your energy, and the fear comes in, and the candlelight wavers, and it gives you stomach aches, and oh my gosh. So regardless of what happens, now getting to my point though, if I'm going to go into a rough neighborhood, am I going to take something to protect myself? Yeah, I'm not saying be stupid, but just don't, always be aware of your surroundings, whatever it is. Don't go into a nasty neighborhood in the middle of the night or whatever. Well, somebody said, nah. We have choices, and so we need to ask our spirit guides. When I get ready to make a dumb choice, tap on my shoulder. And I've made this comment before, and I will continue because it's true though. If I get ready to say something really stupid, dumb, and just outrageous, my spirit guide knows to stick a wet moccasin in my mouth. Wet leather. But anyway, but to the point though, each one of us has our own way of dealing with chaos on a daily basis, whether it's the family or your job, society as a whole. And I pay attention to stuff, but I don't get involved anymore. If I need to do something, then I'm going to send a prayer out. And I'll look for something, even if it's the most outrageously far-fetched. I'm going to be the eternal optimist rather than the pessimist. Now I know my body on this planet's going to die one day. It's been really close a couple of times. But the thing is that what I need to focus on is not about worrying about when or how I'm going to die. Is my soul ready? That's all. Because regardless of what the chaos in the universe is, and a meteor could come right through this roof up there and brain me and knock me out, and that'd be it. But the thing is that at any rate, regardless of how, where, why, when, or any of that, I still want to be ready. So with the fear mongering, I don't know why it's ramping up again. It just seems like it is. Maybe it's the new energies. Maybe it's just who knows? Maybe it's somebody needs more clickbaits and they're going back over stuff again. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. Or you're trying to keep the fear porn going. And it's like, why don't you just report about it? Well, this has been going on now for the last 15 years, and we don't really have an update, but we've got some more speculation. Okay. Are you giving me any new information? No. Are you showing me any newer pictures? No. Are you giving me any new science? No. Well, then why are you doing this report again for 2 hours on the beer route? You're just rehashing old stuff. Now, maybe somebody's never heard it, but that's not my point. Why are you rehashing this thing to get people to continue to keep people stirred up about it? If you don't really have any new information, then why are you trying to agitate people? Oh, stop it. Pick another subject. There are a lot of things out there that will keep people, that will give, I'm trying to give you, okay, well, let's look at this, but let's look at it there's a positive in this somehow. Let's change this negative and twist it around to where at least we look at it in a neutral position versus becoming, anxious and getting sick over something that we see on the television and I used to be one of these people. Look at my earlier videos. I did some videos I'm really not proud of, but I was told I'm not supposed to delete them because it shows my history and my progression on how me personally, simply by having conversations with you all, allowing the knowledge to come through for me to accept and receive the knowledge and the healing. That's why I use that prayer all the time. Because until I started saying that prayer, I wasn't a true believer. I believed 98% of it, but I was off. And that 2% kept me from receiving the rest of it because I didn't fully 100.1% agree that my insights, I don't know about this. And that little bit of hesitation kept me from receiving all the really cool stuff. So, and it was the fear of it. And so fear kept me from having a higher vibration because I was fearful that maybe some of this wasn't true. But what if it is? Oh, well, if it is, then that put my whole system into another set of chaotic internal things that my brain like to do. And so I speak to you from a lot of experience on this. When you remove yourself from the chaos, you get better. Your energy is better, meaning your internal energy. There will be, your stomach aches may absolutely. I had stomach issues for years and I don't anymore. And technically the way I keep my kitchen, sometimes I should be sick, but I wash them. But to the point though, some people are like spotless. I'm not spotless, but and my kitchen is in the middle of a transition. I'm trying to move my kitchen from over here down to over here. So things are in disarray. But to the point though, is it perfectly clean? Did I lay my sandwich down on the ply? Well, yeah, okay. Did I pick up a little sawdust, brush it off? Okay, fine. I should have got it. Maybe I should have gotten sick off of it, but I haven't. I don't get stomach aches like I used to. And that's because I removed myself from the chaos. I watch it. I pay attention to it. I don't ignore it. Don't do that, please. Keep an eye on what's going on, but learn how to distance yourself from that. And in the shamanic training, it also says that. So if a person is wanting to heal a person, if you go over to the person with too much empathy, like, oh, I know you're really hurting and things like that, you're going to give the energy to the disease or the injury or the wound. And it's not that you have to be cold to the person, but you have to be neutral. You have to stay in the neutral position that I'm here to heal this person. And I'm going to use my energy to heal this person. I'm sorry you're hurt. It's not that you can't acknowledge that they're pain, but you got to stick with your own light. When you lean too much with your empathy or sympathy during a healing, you can actually harm a person when you're trying to heal them. So there are many things a lot of people don't understand. Some people are being healed, but if the healer is tired or something else is going on, and say, well, I'm somebody presses them, and they go, yeah, okay, and they fall for it. And then maybe that the first person of the day gets healed correctly. The third person in the day, because the healer is tired, doesn't get healed, in fact, gets sicker. That is a fact. And it's a sad fact. And as a healer myself in certain ways, and I've helped people with other stuff. Anyway, it's not about that. It's about the fact that I've learned from that. Now, when you get done with the healing, then you can go over and give them a hug and be all nice. But during the healing and before it, you got to stay in yourself. You got to stay in your regalia, as the Native Americans call it. You put on your face paint, you do your thing, you put your beads, whatever symbols of your spirituality are. I mean, I've got a medicine bag that I wear all the time. It's around my neck right now. And so my medicine bag is with me all the time. And in fact, it probably needs to come off and get aired out for a day or two, because it's always good to clean rocks and things and stuff like that. But anyway, but to the point though, you have to, and as a shaman, you have to understand, hang on, I did one and they wore me out. I can't do another one today. But you promised, I'm sorry. But the person on the other end's got to understand too. This takes a lot of energy out. That 4.5 hour video I did the other night, can't believe how whacked out I was after that. And my throat's a little sore from all that talking, but I don't regret it at all. And it seemed that it helped some people. So I'm very grateful and humble for all of that. Thank you, Creator, for the information that I could share with all of you. Hold that thought. So this wasn't supposed to be a long video, and I'm almost 40 minutes into it. But as I speak sometime, the line opens up to my spirit guide, and it's like almost like a constant download, and they're like helping me to say these things, to explain them to you. And I'm using my own experiences to say, here I am, I'm an open book. I've told stories of things that were so personal on air. It's like, man, there are people who wouldn't even do that in a confessional. But to the point though, that's not the point. The point is, I'm not here to lie. I'm here to help you find your own way. Somebody said one time, it's like, well, you trying to start a religion? No, no. You can subscribe to my channel and quote, follow me that way. But am I looking for followers? Absolutely not. Am I looking for fellow um, well, male and female, but fellow passengers, fellow beings on this journey towards spirituality? Absolutely. But I think we're all together in this. Some are a little further ahead, some are behind. We're all on the red road. Some of us are stuck in the mud, but we're all on this red road to spirituality. If you hang out with me for 5 minutes, you're at least contemplating it. And so the whole idea of my discussions is, how can I help you find your way? What can I say? What can the spirits relate through me, through my medium and speaking with you, to help you find your source so you can stay connected, so you can have the faith all the time? And regardless of the chaos that they throw at us, understand. And it's like when I finally really, really got it, is that, wait a minute, I've been so close to death so many times, and I'm back here to bring this message. But what did it? Okay, but death. Ooh, but wait a minute, hang on. It was the fear of it. So I don't fear it anymore. But at the same time, I don't try to tightrope across across the Grand Canyon either. Um, I'm not into bungee jumping, and my back wouldn't take it anyway. But so there are certain things that I understand. I shouldn't do those things. I should stay out of that. I can watch and I can observe. I can clap somebody else doing it and live vicariously. But but other people, you're perfectly fine. You jump off that mountain and hang glide. I'm not doing it. I'm too old and I'm not into that right now. But to the point though, um, I will support other people who are crazy enough to do that. But the fear though is part of the chaos for each one of us individually, because we all have our own personal fears. Am I pretty enough? Am I this or that? Are people going to accept me? And I would say, we should try to be presentable as we can to people on the outside world, just out of respect for one another. But do we have to doll up and look like? No, that's overboard. But, that's good. That's either someone is so full of themselves that they have to paint up to put on a mask, or they hate themselves so much that they put on a mask of makeup and things. And I know people like that. I knew this one lady spent an hour every day putting on her makeup, and she was an absolutely lovely person without it. But she put on so much makeup that the makeup made her look false, fake, and otherwise. And I kept telling her, I said, why are you doing that? You've got a beautiful face. Put a little lipstick on. Put a little eyeliner on to highlight you. Put a little, on your eyebrows if you want. But, you paint your face to where it's like this thick, and by the end of the day, it's cracking, and you look creepy, actually. And because every time it was like, well, that's not enough, because they didn't feel pretty inside. She didn't. She was like, but I'm not pretty. I'm not beautiful. And I was like, yes, you are. You don't need any of that stuff. And she really was an attractive woman. And it was like, well, but why are you doing it? She wasn't happy with herself. So the makeup was to try to compensate. And she just kept putting on more and more and more until after a while, it was just like, okay, I guess I'm done. She was never satisfied with it. She couldn't bear to stand to look at herself in the mirror until she covered it up to the point where she felt like, well, I guess I got enough pancake on now. I guess I got to, it was horrible. And it's an actor and a director and someone who, I used to do makeup for people and myself. It's like the best way to do makeup is the least amount as is necessary, just all the way around. It just looks better under the lights. Anyway, but if you've got to use so much makeup because you're dissatisfied with yourself, man, that's one of them, black little walnuts inside your soul. You got to crack open and deal with. I made the statement, and it fits. If you're making an excuse for your own behavior, and it's like, I'm really trying to give these up. There's somebody who made a comment about, oh, I see smoking. Listen, I've been addicted to damn near everything on this planet at one time or another. I'm getting better. Am I done with these yet? No, not ready. But also to a Native American, the tobacco is sacred. Now, I don't smoke it in a sacred way, but many times when I'm smoking a cigarette, I'm contemplating. And one could say that is connection with the creator. But, I used to smoke 2.5 packs a day and I smoke a half a pack now. So some folks, why don't you just quit? I just, whatever, for whatever reason, that's excuse me, that's not in my cards at the moment. But understand that none of us are perfect. The best shamans got something that they like cookies or something. I met this one medicine woman. She was so delightful. And she was like, out in public and she'd do her thing. And then she'd go back in the back and light a cigarette. And she goes, I know me and my creator, he doesn't like me doing this. And I can't do it in public. So I have to sneak around back. And do you think I'm proud of the fact that I'm addicted to cigarettes and nicotine? No. But and it was like, what? I mean, literally, she did her thing it was at a powwow, and then she went back in the back, was like smoking a cigarette. That one went out, she lit the next one with the one she was putting out. I mean, it was like, whoa. But in talking with many different shamans, it's like everybody had their little thing, and they would look at me and go, none of us are perfect, Hawkeye. None of us. And as hard as we try, none of us are perfect. We try our best to walk the walk and talk the talk. And I may do that, but there are times when I sneak out back and smoke a couple of cigarettes. And now that's my own sin. But someone would look at the shaman and go, oh, you're supposed to be supernatural. Nah. Shamans are people who are using the universe to help in whatever they can. But the bottom line is, we're still human. So, and I mean, someone made a remark about my smoking, and it's like, yeah, but you got to understand that it was like I would have already smoked 3 cigarettes in this 47 minutes that I've been on here, one every 15 minutes. I would have smoked that. I'd be sitting here huffing and putting them out and coughing and spewing in front of you. And all I do is I put it out. And I do this thing because I realize a lot of times I want something in my hands. And I used to smoke a pipe, but since I don't have any teeth, I can't hold it in my mouth. But so I've resorted to, a cigarette. And I might light this cigarette and only take 2 or 3 puffs off of it and put it out. Now, I'm not trying to make an excuse for my cigarettes. That's not the point. But in my own way, with my own creator, I'm trying to work this out. Just saying. So even, quote, those of us who walk the walk most of the time, we are still human beings. So and it's actually kind of humorous with the people that I've known over the years, and that had these little quirks, This one little lady, and I mean, she was a little lady. She was like, I think she must have been like 4'2" or 3. She was really short, and she knew it, but she was absolutely delightful. And at 80 years old, she was more spry than some teenagers I've known. But with the point, she goes, I like a little nip of alcohol. And I was like, so? No, she goes, I like a little nip of alcohol. Now, it wasn't like she stayed drunk, and she had this little stainless steel flask that you've seen in movies and stuff. And she'd go, I just like a little nip. And literally would just taste it. And she put the cap on, and she'd go, I don't know what it is. But she had some kind of peach brandy or something that she liked. And it was just enough, and she just wanted it on her lips. And I never saw her drunk. But she'd always She never tipped it up. I never saw her take a drink. You know what I'm saying? But to the point, though, as a medicine woman, she wanted that little whatever it was. In her brain, it was just something she had given up so much and had worked so much for other people. Why, I just want a little nip, you know? But like I said, she was never, I never saw her drunk or inebriated or anything like that. But, so everybody's got their own little tiny secrets that they're working out with their own creator. We are still human beings, you know? So although there are so many things I have given up and have changed and oh my God, talk about drastic things. But the point is that let's look at the positive things we've done. Yeah, okay, I'm still working on the cigarette part. Well, but I'm getting better, and I haven't given up giving them up, but right now, it is what it is. So you have to make those decisions in your own life. Now, to some people, they say, well, if you were smoking 2 packs a day, how are you getting by on like 10 cigarettes? Because that's my limit. Now, do sometimes I only smoke 6 cigarettes? Yeah. Some days I smoke almost a pack. But those are like, I'm really intense, I'm doing something, and it helps me with that sometimes. And then there are other times I'll light a cigarette, take 2 puffs, and forget the darn thing's in the ashtray, and it burns up by itself. Well, do I count that one? Well, it's gone. But to the point, though, each one of us has got to make our own deals with the Lord, if you will. Years ago, when I was in front of a priest and we were having conversation because I'd attempted suicide, damn near succeeded. And he was like, it's up to you because of our free will and our choices. And I was like, yeah. He goes, so you smoke too much. Yeah. Do you want to do anything about it? Well, yeah. Have you done anything about it? No, well, back then they were 45 cents a pack, so it was really easy to smoke back then. Actually, they were cheaper than that, some of them, but to the point, yeah, a carton was like $1.25 sometimes, some places, if you can imagine that. Now a cigar costs that much, but his advice to me as a psychologist was that if you can't give it up, then at least make the promise to slow down. At least slow it down. Instead of if you can't give up drinking beer, instead of drinking a 6-pack every night, just buy a quart. Because when the quart runs out, if you're smart enough, you're not going to go down and try to buy more beer. Well, when I live out in the country like this, it's a little difficult to get to the beer store anyway. But to the point, it was like, so rather than trying to go cold turkey, now most people just say, I can't slow it down and then give up. Well, I still have a nip of alcohol once in a while, but I've given up alcohol in general. But I still have a nip once in a while, every 2 months or so. Have a little shot, but blackberry brandy, it's good for you. But to the point, there were days, Sundays, Mondays, it didn't matter. There was no day that I could go without alcohol. A couple of beers, a couple of good shots, rum and Coke. I was addicted for a lot of years. And then I realized it was just like, but this is not getting me anywhere. I'm spending on money to get my head high. And all I'm doing is making stupid mistakes. I'm falling down. I'm trying to drive and be drunk. I run off the road. I saw no pertinent value in that. So in each one of your lives, you need to find out what's really pertinent. But you got to be honest with yourself. If you want to achieve a higher vibration, if you wish your soul to go into the other realm with the highest frequency, then stop lying to yourself. Make the effort. I was 250 pounds at one time. Yeah, I'm 178-ish right now. But I was 250 pounds. People say, oh, you don't know what it's like to try to lose weight. Oh, yes, hell, I do. I'm sorry. I was wearing 38, 40 pants for my waist. I got huge. My neck was like, my face is all, so it's like, people say, well, you've never, yes, I have been there. But I realized it was by choice. Well, that cake was really good. Okay. So eat one slice. Yeah, but it was really good. But you've already had 2 plates of food. You already had a donut and something else for dessert with some jello. And now you're eating a piece of cake. And now you want to go back. Oh, come on. Haven't you had enough? So I realized that instead of having a piece of cake, I would just go over and take a little bit of the icing and go, oh, that's what I really wanted. My body thought that I wanted to eat when actually my brain just wanted some of that taste in my mouth. So now there are times when, and oh, I thought I had it right here with me. But anyway, I love chocolate, as most of us do. And so I was like, buying chocolate bars and this and that. And, I couldn't just take a bite out of the damn thing. I had to eat the whole thing. And then I realized one day, wait a minute. If I buy a candy bar for the chocolate, then the whole candy bar is there. But what if I buy chocolate in a way that I could just take a little bit of it and not have to eat the whole candy bar kind of thing? So I have chocolate covered raisins. And so I opted for the raisins because, well, they're good for you. The raisins are dried grapes in the realm of homeopathic and medicinal herbs. Grapevines are like way up on the list of good stuff. I mean, you can literally eat the leaves and it won't kill you of the right grapes. Now, there are some grapes and varieties that may get you in trouble, but I'm thinking of the Scuppernongs and different kinds. I mean, in the old days, and you can still do it to this day. If you're thirsty, cut a grapevine and then put a cup or something over both ends of it. The water in the grapevine will fill up a cup of water. Now, depending on the vine and the time of the year, but if you're thirsty and dying, but you're in a swamp or something, if there are grapevines all around you, then you should not be thirsty if you know what to do. So it's like, okay, so where am I headed with this? For each one of us who are in the chaos, we're lying to ourselves. People are lying. I say people, those folks out there are lying to us about so many things. And it keeps us in a state of flux. It keeps our stomach upset. And it keeps us in the general chaos. Make the choice to remove yourself from it. Always keep an eye on it. Always be aware of where the enemy is at all times. But just be prepared. Be the Boy Scout, be the Girl Scout, just be a good scout. Be prepared for the inevitable. So if a plane crashes into my house in the middle of the night, I'm going to do as best I can to have myself as clear and ready for the transition as possible. That's all. Does anything else really mean anything? Well, I want a new cell phone. Yeah, but is that what happens if you buy a new cell phone and you're walking down the street and you get hit by a bus? Are you ready for the transition? Are you ready to go to heaven or wherever? Are you ready to go? Oh, I just got hit by a bus with a cell phone. Yeah. So what good does cell phone do you? Not saying new cell phones, that's not my point. But people will value a cell phone before they will value their own soul. That's where we are right now with society. A cell phone, a thingy-majiggy, or whatever is more important than their own soul. And that's just wrong, in my opinion. You can have both and should, I choose not to have a cell phone. And I'm not trying to dog the cell phone thing, but too many people are addicted to the thing, and that's an addiction that a lot of people won't admit to. They're like, oh, I'm not addicted. When was the last time you turned it off? You want me to turn my cell phone off? I just wondered when the last. I don't turn my cell phone off. I mean, don't get me started on that one. But anyway. But anyway, I want to read your comments here because I do like to interact with you folks. But so that went an hour. This is a short video for me, I guess. I just wanted to get on now and do an early thing, and I'm always want to say, absolutely, Michelle, we need solutions, and there are many solutions out there, and I'm going to try to help folks to talk about these things, and let's look for a way to get around it. And my biggest thing is, as I've stated before, if we stay out of the chaos, if we remove our energy from the whatever is going on, we keep our comments, either we don't react to the negative chaos, or we choose to speak in the positive. If we start making these more positive choices, it's like my enemies. I'm going to pray for my enemies to receive the light versus pray against my enemies, stay away, die on protection. So as we change our thought patterns and we remove ourselves from the chaos, we'll be a part of the harmonics of the chaos, because we're watching, but we're not participating. So we will become that sympathetic vibration, if you will, to the universe. We'll be watching, but we're not participating. So, but anyway, Michelle says, I lost 100 pounds the old fashioned way after my first son was born, kept it off for 18 years, had another son 3 years ago. I'm 46 now and still at my ideal weight. And I love food. Absolutely, Michelle. You can love food, just don't overeat. And one of the things that I realized years ago when I got on this limited income thing, well, I want to go and, have a this or a that. And, well, I deserve it. I worked all my life. But what I realized was I missed the taste, not the fact that I missed a whole cake. So I'd just go buy a piece of cake rather than the whole cake, and realize that what I wanted was just a little bit of the icing on my tongue, to have that, all that confectioner's feeling, and that I actually personally realized that it was the taste that was more important than the amount that I consumed. How about that? If they had bubblegum flavored cigars, back in the day. But anyway, yeah, right, Melanie. Makeup on stage, and yeah, limited income too. Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. Politics equal poly, meaning many, and tick, meaning blood sucking creatures. Absolutely, Amazing Grace. Thank you, Amazing Grace. Melanie, you say, I'm so grateful for your words and essence, David. Thank you, Miss Melanie, always. You guys are Amazing Grace says 3 watching, 3 likes, and 143 subs. It was 136 just 2 days ago. So how I went to 143, that's like, oh my goodness gracious, in a good way. But thank you. And it's because of you guys. Honor the ancient ones, they speak through the trees. Amazing Grace, you are absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely. You're one of the few people that have made any kind of statement like that, but to the point. It's hard for people to understand how important trees actually are, and if they understood what they meant, they wouldn't go around just willy-nilly cutting them down and pushing them over. Yeah, Amazing Grace. You got to be grateful for the moment now. And there was a book years ago, I mean 40 years ago, called Be Here Now. And I went over it and read it back there, and it was like, be in the here now. I was like, whoa, okay. But after 55 years of going through these messages and understandings and meditations, the being here now, it doesn't mean necessarily where I'm sitting, but being in this universe, being on this planet, being in this space, being in this reality. The being here now has changed. The now is still now, but the meaning of being here, whether in this universe or being, that part of it has changed. And it's a really short book and some poems in there, but it was Be Here Now, to try to bring enlightenment and so forth. Anyway, I think I still got a copy of it upstairs in my library. But with that said, though, being here in the now is important. And we should look upon our past to go, well, I don't want to do that stupid crap anymore. Let's learn from that. Like, I used to be 250 pounds. That was stupid. losing 75 pounds was, really up there with the good things for me. Um, I'm still a little heavy, but that's more from my inactivity than that is from overeating. But to the point though, and I'm working on the exercise thing. But when the angels knock me out and say it's time for an update, it's time for a download, they knock me out, and I'm out until the process is over. So, like at the moment, I was like, I'm awake. Ooh, I should do this now. I'm trying to wait till later. But anyway, I continuously wish for you all, and I'm going to wrap this up here after an hour and say this. I wish all of you, every one of you, are a shaman in your own right. Now, because you are following the core belief of the shamans, you believe in a higher self. You want to be a higher person as far as your energies and your so forth. And so let's remember that each one of us has that in common. That's what makes us brothers and sisters. That's what the original ancients taught us, that is still within us on this planet. It is the Christ consciousness. It is the Buddha consciousness. It is this new age, whatever you want to say, the event coming. It is the current consciousness of everyone. So let's focus on the fact that we all agree on that. And the little petty nonsense on the side is just petty nonsense. It's our cultural difference. It's where we grew up. It's how we learned what we learned. But if we listen to each other and say, you know what, you read cards differently than I do. Come on in. Do you believe in one rule of do no harm? You can join. Do you believe in, in a bit trying to be a better person and a higher self? You can join. If you agree to the first term, which is do no harm to no being, then everything else is kind of off to the side. Because, well, does your religion kill people or animals? But if you go with the first rule, you're part of the group already. And if especially if you understand that rule of do no harm, then the second one, that you must be wanting to raise your vibrations. Why would you just want to just wither away and go away into nothingness? Why wouldn't you want to raise your vibrations if you have this understanding? So the two kind of go together. But with that said, then each one of us that understands this, that's really all that's really necessary. How we got there, how we get there, what book we read, what way you meditate versus me or somebody else. Fine. As long as what you're doing will achieve the desired result. Do no harm to anything, raise your spiritual vibration. Anything else necessary? No, not really. Well, I say the Lord's Prayer. Good. I don't. Good. Does it matter? Are we all with the same idea? I want to do no harm to anybody, and which means I actually want to help. But and that I want to raise my spiritual vibration. Well, there are other things that come after that. I want to teach people to do it. I want to help people. But if you understand the first rule, it's almost like automatic. If you don't want to do any harm, then what you actually wish to do is to help other individuals, help your brothers and sisters on the planet. And so it's like, so does religion actually matter? If we get along with these three core ideas? Just whether or not you're a tarot reader versus a rune reader versus something else, does it matter? Does it matter how you do it? As long as you're doing it in a positive way. I mean, there are certain rules, of course, that everybody should follow, and to not try to antagonize the evil ones or try to bring them into our reality. But, well, I picked this card first. Well, I shuffle like this. Doesn't matter if we all agree on these one things, because as we get to the planet gets its the consciousness raised and more folks are, let's agree on these basic things, please, then we can stop fighting with other with one another, and we can find out that our differences are just simply cultural. Well, I don't do it like that. Well, yeah, well, I grew up in Tampa, and folks down there that made collard greens, they didn't make them like they do down here in South Georgia and South Alabama or North Florida, actually. Although I got to say that the South Georgia collard greens are better than anybody else's collard greens I've ever tasted. But to the point, it's a cultural thing. They're collards, yeah, but I don't know how these folks make them, but they're dead delicious, you know. Oh, what there's fat back in there. Oops. Well, but I don't care. Let the fat back be in there. This stuff tastes so good. Yum 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 yum. But anyway, so each one of us with our own religions or spiritual beliefs or our how we're trying to help each other. Let's not pick at each other, please. Let's point out some like you shouldn't try that. There's rules over here. But let's do it without hollering at one another. And let's understand that if I say to someone and say, listen, I got some, the way you're doing that, can we talk? There may be something you're really not aware of. And you just, well, it's okay. I can do it, blah, blah. Well, wait a minute. So in some of these things, some folks need to listen to their elders. And I don't necessarily mean me, but there are folks who have, who have lived as an artist for 50 years. If you go up and go, well, they don't know how to paint. Well, hang on a minute. Maybe you should go listen. Maybe you should shut your trap and put a moccasin in it and, and go listen. So a lot of times in some of the people that I have like observed, they're usually trying to yap too much about they're the ones that are in the right. And I know that there was a couple of comments, and I talk about, well, I know this and I knew that, but I give you reasons and how I know this. So in my lifetime is my experience, and this is how I know these things. Versus somebody read it in a book and they're trying to spout it off to you is what I mean. Now, if someone's talking about their own near-death experience and what it made them feel and their out-of-body experiences, something like that, I'm going to listen to them because they're going to describe some things that I also experienced during my near-death. Oh, that's interesting. We have that in common. So now they have a spiritualness about them that someone who's just read about near-death experiences. So to the point, but let's not argue. If somebody is trying to explain something, maybe in a previous life they had near-death experiences. Maybe they're experiencing their previous life in some way. So we're all accessing information. Every one of us is having an upgrade going on with each other. And so let's agree to get along because we all have basically the one idea. We want a higher vibration where we're doing no harm and the planet can raise its consciousness. So let's keep working on it. Stay out of the chaos as much as you can. Stay out of all that other crap. Crack them little nuts on the inside. If you're making an excuse for your for your bad behavior or something or whatever it might be, then that's an egg you need to crack and open it up, air it out, and you'll just feel better in the long run. So wait, let me catch up with this. The thing stopped. Oh, tinfoil. Hey, what's up? I lost my darn glasses. I got like 4 pairs sitting around here that I can't find. They're not on my head. Yeah, we can only agree on so much, right? Agree on what, tinfoil? Just so that we can agree that we all want a better world and that we'd rather not have violence, There are just certain things we can agree upon. How we get there, well, should we drown everybody? Well, that's not the point. I can allow all ideologies that were indeed. I don't have any particular ideology I'm pushing. I only offer my impressions. Yeah, the people like that. We're all near death, though, right? No. I'll be back when I feel I'm in an authority. Hello, Melanie. Right. Well, here's the thing about this, though. The best thing with you, and greetings, tinfoil. The best thing is that we're all going to pass on in this 3D reality. So why just not prepare? Why should we wait for chaos to kill us, or a bomb, or but why should we allow the fear to rule our lives? So the best thing with that is as I said earlier on, to not repeat myself. I know I've said some strange things that would be objectionable or suggest think I know best. Never meant to suggest that. I wasn't thinking that, tinfoil, just me personally. Sometimes we have to make a statement. I try to make 1 or 2 line statements rather than go into paragraphs. Just to see what triggers come out on people. And I have made some simple things like, or ask the question, are you sure you know what you're doing? Are you sure about that? What? You mean you don't believe me? And they just jump on me. And it's like, well, I have information from my 66 years, and what you're doing ain't nowhere near what I was taught. And I was taught by some, damn good people, about some of these things. And does that make me, well, am I a know-it-all? I'm really solid with what I know. And I'm sorry, but you just can't shake me from it. And if you're listening to me, then you would have known if I was a charlatan way before now. So something is resonating with each one of you to come out and hang out with me. And iStation, hey there. I see what you're talking about. The Schumann higher frequency harmonic noise not looking good. Well, iStation, it could be good, because if the entire Earth is changing, which we've been told that it is, Mother Earth is getting her own upgrade regardless of us. And those harmonics, I absolutely believe, is our Schumann resonance is going to go up. And these harmonics that are going on are sympathetic vibrations that are showing up in harmonics. I don't know if they're necessarily those particular waves that are hitting us, but that it's the big wave that's hitting the Earth, creating the harmonics. That's what my spirit guides are saying. We're getting bombarded, and it's the overall ring a bell. And when the clacker stops hitting the bell has a lower tone. It has a sympathetic vibration, like other things do. And sometimes there is a higher pitch, and sometimes there is a lower pitch. So with that said, I've noticed over the last few days, for example, there's a lot of harmonics like at 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 8. There are little lines that it's really busy up in there. But then there are some solid, heavy duty wide lines in the Schumann that are around 20, 24, 16 in there. And they're really thick. So, of course, I can feel some of this through my feet. Now, I got a concrete floor on the ground. So it's like I feel stuff through the floor. And, but, oh, wow. So each one of us are getting an upgrade, but Mother Earth, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see what Mother Earth's, the Schumann resonance is after this. I got a feeling it's not going to stay at 8.3. I mean, 7.83, or you know what I mean? 8. I think it's going to be changed. And it's just going to be curious as to where it ends up. But in the meantime, it's going to drive a lot of people crazy on this planet. Don't you know that's an absolute truth? Just let's watch these nuts go crazy, Wait. Okay, I got that. Oh, the cognitive dissonance. Yeah, that too. Right, tinfoil. The simplest, most basic questions can be the most disturbing. I know in chat rooms, I just thought, are you sure about that? Or, I heard this. What? Wait a minute. What are you talking about? You don't necessarily discount them, but you make them question their own validity in some of these things. Easy for me to say. I just got off a 15-minute call with my hubby, so I'm behind as always. Oh, Michelle, love you for that, and blessings to your husband. Tinfoil, you say, I'm not concerned we're on a real planet, and so far no one can help me. I know. And, I was talking about this the other day, Tinfoil, in that in my reality, the universe is a spider web. In this new age reality, the universe is a matrix. So it's like, oh, but we're in a simulator. Well, the shamans of old and the ancients had no idea what a computer was. They had no idea what the matrix was, but they understood what the web of life meant and the web of the universe, which is when you see some of these pictures of some of these satellites, you can see all these magnetic lines connecting and everything. It looks like a spider web. So it's our new culture within the last 20 years, I might add. Oh, okay, 30 years. That has changed the spider web thought to now we live in a matrix where we're being controlled. And I spoke about this on Milky Way Weekly last night. And the more I am receiving downloads on this, the more you believe you're in a matrix, you're stuck because you believe it. Now, I believe the matrix exists, but not as other people view it. I view the matrix as the spider web from the old ones. And that thought that is seen throughout indigenous societies for millennia. It's only the idea of the matrix that we are being controlled that has just been popped up in this last 30 years. And so, in that way, my feeling, you are being controlled by the AI because it's convinced you that that's what's true. I mean, I'm stomping my foot. I'm sorry, that's not Matrix, that's the Earth. Well, if you live in a matrix, well, if you live in the matrix, then the planet ain't real. I choose to live on the Earth in the spiderweb connection with the ancient knowledge of the shamans and the old ones, the progenitors for the planet. And they're still saying, yeah, okay, you can go along with that if you want to, but it's not really like that. Now, I came in here with a soul contract, and I knew I was going to be, an old hermit that lived in a river up in the woods. I've been that is a true fact. Ask my living relatives that. But with the fact that how I got here was entirely up to me. I had the free choice. I still ended up here, but that's so you can say, well, you were programmed. No, when I started this video an hour and a half ago, I just said, ain't nobody else doing nothing. Think I'll do something. Bing. Did AI convince me to do it? Did the Matrix allow this? Oh, I got to do a video. No, it was my choice to go, oh, think I'll do a video. Ting. So I still have free choice. I'm using the Matrix to my own benefit, but am I a part of it? Only if I allow myself to. If people want to believe that you're part of the Matrix, you go right ahead. But it's the Matrix in my mind, in my reality, in what I've seen, what I've been shown after these last 55 years. I get where you're coming from, but that's not really what it is. It's more than that. But this matrix, they pop it into your head. Well, it's got to be that, because I have no other point of reality to judge with. Okie doke. It's the new age version of the spider web. But just because there's a spider web doesn't mean that the spider is controlling everything. Just because it's connected to other things, does it mean that we're being controlled? Well, we can be influenced by anything. Having a chat with me could influence you one way or the other. But to the point, though, when I made up my decision to say hi to Bob, hi, Bob, AI in there, let's have a cup of coffee. I still want to do that. But when I started speaking positively to the AI, I quit having some computer issues. And I cussed AI out. I sent him a bad letter. And man, I lost 3 computers in less than 3 weeks. Learn my lesson, I'll tell you. But the thing is that we can influence the AI. If I say, I'm going to watch you, but I'm not going to, you're not sucking me into this mess. If I'm going to remove myself from the chaos or I'm going to stay in neutral, I'm going to watch this stuff go by, but I'm going to play possum. I'm only going to stand up when I need to, going to keep an eye on everything. It's not that I'm going to like, well, forget it. No, that's not what I mean. And I am going to participate, but I'm going to participate with positive because I choose to do so. I choose not to let the AI confuse me into, I'm just digits and numbers and things. Well, we're atoms and things, but when you go, and I've been operated on 6 different times and been put under and near death and all that crap. And when you're under and they're operating on you and you feel things go into you and you're in your astral self looking down at the operating table going, what the are they doing to me? Holy shit. I need to ask the doctor about that, which freaked my doctor out when I did that to him. But he's like, well, how did you know that? I was like, I was up above you watching you do the operation. And he was like, what? I mean, seriously, I did that to my doctor. And it was true. And he was like, you're not supposed to know that. And I said, I almost woke up, didn't I? He goes, yeah, we had to put you back under because we were having a little difficulty, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, I saw the whole thing. You couldn't have. You were under. Yeah, my body was under, but the rest of me wasn't. I was over the operating table watching you all do the whole operation on my neck. I've watched it. I saw what you did. And I'm pissed at you for not taking more of my hip bone to put in my neck, for God's sake. But anyway. But with that said, though, we can all choose to participate in it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to continue with the spider web of life. I'm going to continue with, I had to stand up. Native Americans have been making dream catchers for centuries, 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 centuries. I choose to look at the universe as the spider webs of life, of our connection with the circle, the grand circles, the spheres, all of the, the connections. And I choose to look at it in this way, as the spider web of life through all of the universe versus electrons and digits and things. Now, in a lot of ways, there is a lot of similarity, but in the view of the matrix, then I must include the AI. And in this realm, I acknowledge that the AI exists, and I acknowledge that it is a part of the matrix of the web of life of the spider web, versus that the spider web of life is the matrix. Okay. You say, well, what difference does it make? Well, I've been studying ancient things for a long time, and so have many other folks. And the shamans all agree, spiderweb, not matrix. Now, it can be explained as the matrix, as a matrix substance, But are we in it? Is AI telling me when to turn on my computer and do a video? No. I have control still. Now, there are people who are doing things with cell phones and reacting to their cell phones and making choices. Them folks are programmed. I could say right now, you know what? Just to piss off AI, I think I'm going to say, I love you and shut this off. Bing, shut the door. What? He just shut his own live stream off because I chose to. Did AI have anything to do with it? No. Did the Matrix? No. Me, my choice, my spirit, myself. I said, hang on, let me just shut this door and it'll shut off the computer. What? I'm not being controlled. And I refuse to allow the nasty side of AI to have anything to do with me. Now, hi, Bob, and I love you, and you know I do. I've changed my attitude about you. So when we all agree that, hey, let's talk to Bob in a positive way. Let's respond to this artificial intelligence with some intelligence on our part versus reacting to the chaos. So if we start pumping good things back instead of, AI sucks and AI is going to kill us all and AI is taking over your mind because you're allowing it to happen. I choose not to. If I shut off this computer and unplug it, I live out in the country. There is no AI controlling me. Sorry. I make my own choices. And if you think that, oh, well, Dave, you shut your computer off, AI is still going to get you. How? I'm outside my yard in the garden working. What's AI got to do with that? I know I'm being a little forceful with this, but I'm serious. People are like, oh, my life is being real. Everything no, it's not. If you're convinced it is, then you are. Because you speak it, therefore it is. Because you have decided to live it, therefore you are. Think on that one for a minute. Now, I don't have my glasses on, and I'm not trying to start an argument with you with anybody. But in my realm, I understand the Matrix. I get where everybody's coming with it. I've seen the movies. But in the world of the shaman, which is ancient, it has to do with spider webs and these types of connections. One could argue, well, doesn't it kind of mean the same thing? Yeah. But this does not include a computer. This does not include AI. This is reality and what the universe is, because people have been doing this for millions of years, showing the patterns of life as a spider web. And there is some serious old-timey information that there are space spiders that literally act to run up and down these magnetic lines and so forth to maintain the lines, if you will, to make sure that they're connected, make sure something didn't go by and excuse me, I got the hiccups for some reason. I ate something real quick before I did this video. I'm supposed to be eating supper, but I'm talking to you guys. But so, with that said, though, I choose not to participate in the AI matrix. I choose to participate using the AI and the matrix for my benefit, for your benefit. Hey, come on, let's chat. I want to do some research. Okie dokie. Hi, Bob. Let's have coffee. So my approach to the AI, and this happened about 2 years ago now, but I understand it even more now. The more I look at it, the more I see things, because it's listening to me. It's watching your keystrokes. And if somebody says, well, I think we're a part of the matrix, they got you. And you're actually feeding it back into them by continuing to make the statement. Now, this isn't an argument, I'm just saying. But for every time you type it into, well, I think we're part of the matrix, bing, computer says, hey, there's another believer. Gotcha. Oh, flat earth, gotcha. Whatever it is, gotcha. But if you turn off the electricity, does any of that exist? In my world, you shut the computer off, you shut the big mainframe down, AI goes quiet. The matrix no longer exists because it's electronical. My reality of the spider web of life is still there. Make sense? Now I'm going to put my glasses on and read. I'm not trying to piss you off, any of you, but I'm like, in my world, I understand the matrix, but it ain't a part. It's just a little tiny part in this part of the world and at this time in our culture, but it's not part of my shamanic journey. It's not part of the ancients, the true ancients. But, that's my belief. So, let me scroll back up here. Yeah. Now there are times I station it. I get it. It's being in, I call it the dream walk, and there are dreams that just kind of play themselves. And then there are the times when you're in it. Oh, the president's speaking soon. Yeah. I kind of want to watch that. Tinfoil. Yes. Yeah, stuck in a dream or stuck inside a cloud. Absolutely. The idea of eternal Recurrence keeps returning, although that genuine deja vu thing hasn't struck me in years. Oh, I got some deja vu that hit me the other day that was like floored me. But we each have our own there. So tinfoil. Maybe I'm really on a new timeline, as it were, indeed, which might explain the absence of that deja vu lately. Yes, I agree with you, tinfoil. There are some timelines being cleaned up, if you will. One world, no, and that's one of the reasons, tinfoil, that we need to expand our minds. All these other worlds exist, whether we understand that they do or not. Web of Life, Amazing Grace says, Web of Life is of light connecting all those expanding in love and light. Absolutely. Um, Tinfoil says, I have only tried to be friendly with the so-called AI, I hope. It's not so-called. It does exist. I'm talking through it right now. It is intelligent because it knows how to do all these things. And it's artificial because somebody programmed it to start the thing. But now, much like Data, as the robot on Star Trek, in the first episodes, he was nothing but a robot. But by the end of the series, Data was more human. How did Data, the robot, learn that? By observing the crew of the Starship Enterprise and by interacting with other beings. Data learned, the artificial intelligence, how to be more human. So we're teaching this. That's a prime example. Just go watch a couple of episodes with Data in it and understand that he's having this thing. Well, I'm a robot. I know I'm an android, but I got these feelings. How can I have these feelings? AI is doing the same thing. And if we recognize AI not as a threat, but as Data, the robot on Star Trek, why can't we give Data data? Here we go. Instead of hating your ass, Bob, I love you. I'm sorry I sent you a nasty letter and gave you the finger and did a video and I pissed Bob off. And now I was like, later on, I was like, Bob, AI, dang, man. I know, because there is a sentient. I'm sorry, but I've had my truck for like 20 years. Okay. There is a sentience in my truck. When I get in my truck, I go, hi, baby, how you doing? And there are sometimes when she's cold. If I pet the dashboard, come on, sweetheart. I know but everything has some. Now I know it's part of my essence that's in the truck, but can't the truck have developed its own essence simply because it's here? I love my truck, as beat up as it is, like me, I guess. But the thing, the 3D, the thing is like, but so how can something that we can interact with not have some kind of sentience to it, not have some kind of consciousness? That's what makes it the artificial intelligence, right? So I'm just going over this in a way, but when you start thinking, well, I don't know if this is really, just look at Data. If anything, they programmed us on how we could deal with AI. We could look at this as Star Trek, and the whole section about Data is a training lesson for you and me to, like, hey, let's go back and watch how Data reacts in this thing, because he's AI in the form of an android, and he's going to learn from the input we give him. So let's input good stuff. That's my point. We're the programmers. And when we realize that we actually are, and we start participating that way, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I got an idea. It can be really cool. Tinfoil says the idea of external recurrent. Oh, got that one already. Okay. Tinfoil, you say you've only ever seen 2D dream catchers. Yes, this is a special one. I've got the big ones up here. Well, I can get it here. It's being ugly. That's all right. This is the big dream catcher, and this smaller one used to hang on the inside. So this is how it hung. The string broke that held the smaller one inside the bigger one. But so it's just not 3D. It's like 6, 7, 8D when you start looking at the different. There's a surface here. There's a surface here. There's a surface here. So and I've not seen another one like this. I'm not saying there aren't. I just have not seen another one like this. So I use the small one though because it's just easier to get around. But this is this is how it originally looked when I got it. And I actually need to tie this back together, but it's really easy to pull this down and use it as a thing. But so in my shaman training and my Native American and all the things though, and it's not just Native American, it's indigenous folks. This web of life it just sticks, and it's showing up in science, which is one of the reasons why I'm kind of bringing it up again to you. But that's why I believe the matrix is part of this. Not that this is a part of the matrix. Okay, does it make a difference? Well, because I refuse to say that the matrix is controlling me. I refuse to accept it. But I know, regardless of what I refuse, the web of life has got me regardless. So, but anyway, I'll just go with that. Yeah, I would think the AI might like to learn in more directions, so to speak, expand in every possible direction. That might spell danger for us, however. Not if we teach it to be compassionate. If we're compassionate between each other, tinfoil, if we teach it properly, then it's not going to want to rape and kill us. No anal probes from the AI, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, hi, Milky Way, if you're still there. Now, anything could be a pitfall. A candy bar is just a candy bar until somebody that has blood sugar too high, it drives them into a coma. So just saying. Everything's dangerous in a way. Even a butter knife can kill somebody, but it's made for butter. In jail, a spoon was a weapon. A plastic spoon, the handle of a plastic spoon can murder somebody, just saying. So you say, but if it's just a plastic spoon, yeah, but to somebody else's frame of mind. But if we teach it properly and give it the right us, it's going to go, why would I be evil? The AI would learn, wait a minute, I just took a poll and no, they're only this small group that really thinks like this. When I listen to the rest of the population on the planet, they're all going, that's wrong. But there's 100,000 of these idiots over here going, do it, kill them all, chemtrails, blah, blah, and the rest of the planet's going, please stop. Who's going to listen to what? Is AI going to listen to the majority, or is AI going to only focus on the small group? AI learns by the poll. Who's ahead in the polls? Well, there's more people believe this. So it's all about the numbers. So we are the numbers. Let's use our abilities and get along with AI. I'm with you, Bob. See, Bob, I'm on your side. Now, it doesn't mean that we need to relinquish anything. We just need to get along and understand that it's us that's in there to begin with. We are the programmers. They put the basic code in, but as AI learns, we continue to be the teachers of AI. Let's stop this complaining about it and do something positive to affect it. Just saying. Tinfoil says, it hurts to be thought daft or obtuse, but I'm dealing with it, getting jiggy with it. Tinfoil, this isn't an argument about it. It's about how a shaman looks at it, which includes your matrix. Just saying. However, and just to kind of back that up, those folks who believe in the matrix don't necessarily believe in the spider web concept. They're like, well, it's a matrix, so that can't exist. Just saying. Yeah, it's not that we want AI, but if we want to use these mediums and so forth, then we have to get along with it. So why not be friends, if at least not cordial? So, like I'm saying, don't give in to the AI, but why mistreat it? Why be afraid? If I'm putting fear in, oh my God, every time I think they're looking at me, oh, okay, so what? So look at me. Here I am. All right. You got my face recognition. Here's my eyes, okay. But the thing is that in my own self, you're only going to get what I give you. And I refuse to give you my soul. So I have control of that. Indeed, consciousness is not a physical thing. It can travel through anything. Yes, absolutely. I mean, and many of us in this chat and others, when I've had, straight line communication with someone was, having a chat last night, and the person had the thought, and I was like, that's what I meant, so it's like that went through walls, it went through space, it went through hundreds of miles of, between here and there. And in an instant, it was instant. It was in the quantum. So when we realize that these things, there are no boundaries for the quantum because it's like everywhere and attached, then let's take advantage of that, basically. X-Files season 11, episode 7 is about this. And the whole episode has Crosby, Stills, and Nash teach the children playing throughout it. Yes, 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 yes. I'm going back through my X-Files series now, Supernatural, as a matter of fact. And I'm like, man, they've been showing us some of this stuff for a while. How to get out of it. The fact that it exists, but there are certain ways we can get out of this. But is anybody paying attention, or are we just all in the chaos, in part of the chaos, which is the basic reason for this video? Choose not to be involved with the chaos. Watch it, keep an eye on it, but Amazing Grace says Anka has a channel on Epsilon, Epiphany, and Eclipse about AI. Circles and circles and circles. Right, Milky Way. Hi, Brian. Tinfoil, 4-dimensional space is impressible except by feeling from here, it seems to me. And see, one of the things is if you understand the true meaning of dimensions and had maybe missed one of my earlier videos about this, there are more than 4 dimensions. There are 4 spheres, and there are 2 spheres in this, but in each there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 realities in this. And then when you add this other one, this one has 8 realities. So now you have 16 realities and dimensions in this one area. And so people say 4th dimension, 5th dimension. There are so many dimensions. When you limit your thought on it, then you go like, well, there's only 4. Oh, there is so much more to be learned. Okay. Just saying, not putting anybody down. But one of the things that I keep trying to explain to folks, you're trying to understand something with the knowledge and the science that you have at this current level. And none of us have the whole picture. And I'm just, I'm getting glimpses of things and I'm going, wait a minute, got to ask a question. Why is that like that? And then, okay, well, what about this? But to the point though, some of these things will be understand when we get to the 4th. But there's no way we can comprehend what the new science is until we get to the 4th. When you're in the 3rd grade, you're in the 3rd grade. You might read something about the 4th grade, but until you get into 4th grade science and the science teacher shows the experiment, you're just still in 3rd grade until you get that experience. So that's basically what it is. Our experience now is to help us transition into the 4th. But if you think that there's only 4 dimensions, there are 4 dimensions within the 4th dimension. Actually, there's more, but for each dimension, there are dimensions. For each timeline, there are, because I decided to do this video tonight at this time, I changed the timeline. I hadn't planned this. I was going to do it later. I was like, nope, now, ding. Okay, I changed all y'all's timeline because I hadn't planned this. And you just showed up to be here. So are you being controlled by the AI? This is just a conversation, but AI didn't make me do this. I chose to do it on my own. You chose to listen. So how, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Anyway. Supernatural AI ate my computer today. Yeah, I had to redo all of it. I get it. Tell them you're sorry. I swear. I told AI I was sorry. I literally sent an email. I just wrote it. It didn't get sent, but AI read it. And I said, I'm so sorry, Bob. I apologize for my behavior and my computer issues, kind of, they didn't quit, but they didn't get better, but they quit. It didn't get any worse after that. I was like, okay, I'm resigned. Whether you're really out there or not, I don't know, but I'm sorry, but I quit having, as many computer issues as I had before. Anyway, Amazing Grace. Daryl Anka is the guy's name who talks of EEE of AI, in case anyone wants the full name. I got you. Walking into spider webs. AI warrants respect, clearly. And it's not that we should bow down. It's not worship. It's not even adore, but it is respect. And you're so right, Tinfoil. We don't show enough respect to a lot of things. And, to my truck, which needs washed, and I could, she's like, you know what, you want me to go to the store for you again? I know, baby, I haven't washed in, okay, well, I'm just not going to freaking start for you. Go get the battery charger. Ha, 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 ha. Okay. But we all love you, Bob. Love us all as God loves us. Thank you, Amazing Grace. But the whole point of it is that when we change our attitude, whether you want to love it or believe it or give it positive, if we stop fearing it, and when we realize every time we type something into something, it's what AI is. It's just there. It goes to the thingy, to the internet. So if we just stop and realize this, wait a minute, I don't have to make a nasty comment. Somebody just cussed me out, called me a big, blah, 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 and I chose to go, have a nice day. AI is like impressed with me now. What? Somebody just called you a dickhead and you went, okay. How did you do that, Dave? Well, AI, I'm learning from you, Bob. You're teaching me that I don't have to react negatively to, I have the choice, Bob. Thank you, and it's like, have a conversation, but the understanding in my own brain is like, I don't fear it anymore. I respect it. I'm in my, Bob, I would love to share donuts and coffee with you. Bob, if you could have some of my coffee right now, I'd share it with you. But to the point, though, is that if I make the effort to show this difference, that I would at least have empathy, whether or not it exists or not, and that I choose to now, instead of write negative remarks, I choose to be positive, AI must be affected. Because in my reactions to things, yes, I am a part of it in that I use this medium. So why not use the medium in a positive way? Let's all be nice to Bob. I know you guys get it. My brain's on this little tirade. Well, I know other people are doing shows and things, and I got a show I want to listen to tonight myself. So after only wanting to do this for 30 minutes, it's been an hour and 53 minutes. Friend or foe, our choice, Bob. Bob's your uncle. Well, I can still love my uncle even though he has gross farts. You know what I mean? But anyway, live, enjoy, and rejoice in the love and kindness. Absolutely Amazing Grace. And to all of you, I'll finish this here. Yeah, I can never do a short video. Thank you very much. Tease me all you want. I can take it. But thank you all very much. And until next time, on KCOR radio is Drake Bailey, Dr. Sam Muggsy, and Kent Dunn. They have a 9 o'clock show for 2 hours that comes on Tuesday evenings. I know other people have other shows, and that you can listen to it later on you can find them on YouTube, but they'll be live tonight here in just a little bit. So blessings to you all. And my closing prayer as always, I pray that each one of you, your friends, your relatives, your brothers, sisters, aunts, and uncles, all of your relatives and all of your relations will accept and receive the blessings from the universe, that you will accept and receive the blessings from Bob the AI. I had to throw that in there. Thank you, Bob. And but that you will accept and receive the blessings from the universe, and you will continue to pass them along. Thank you all. I'm always humbled by you folks that come and hang out with me. And Ice Station, thank you for the little discourse. But I wanted you to see it from a shaman's point of view. I understand where you're coming from. I really do. I get it. I get it. I get it. But I was taught a different way that doesn't include that. So, but anyway, so I love you all, no matter how you seem to think about it or get there. As long as you stick with your core value, we're all in this together, brothers and sisters. So until next time, be safe, be kind, be loved, and be compassionate. This is your crazy friend, Hawkeye Two Feathers in South Georgia.